value. And remember, that stands for a vertical reflection. Ooh, vertical reflection. The next thing we're going to talk about is we're just going to talk about what that 2 is. So ignore the negative. We already addressed the negative. We know it's a vertical reflection. If we're just looking at that 2, remember the 2 is greater than 1. So that's going to be a vertical stretch. And remember, you have to tell me by a factor of. And guys, the factor is just 2. Because the negative tells me it's a vertical reflection. So this is by a factor of 2. The next thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the H value. So we know that this graph has been shifted. One place to the right. So the graph shifted 1 unit right, because it's always opposite inside parentheses. The next thing we're going to talk about is that +8. And that +8 has been shifted 8 units above the origin, 8 units up. Okay, a couple more things we can go ahead and fill in. The first thing we can fill in is the vertex. Remember, the vertex is going to be the opposite inside the parentheses, so write a +1. And then your K value is an 8. The next thing we can fill in is the domain. So let's go ahead and write negative infinity to positive infinity there. And now we're ready to graph. So remember, the first thing you need to do is you need to plot the vertex way up here at 1/8. And then after we do that, we're going to make a movement chart. So I want everything on my grid. So I am going to make a very small movement chart right here. Sideways movement, A times the absolute value of X, and that's going to let me know if I am going up or down. Okay, so let's see. I am going to grab a point over here on the left side, so I'm going to write a negative number. I am going to write a -3, just because I want to write a 3. And then, guys, remember, you do have an A value. Your A value is a stretch of a 2, but it's also a negative. And I am going to write the -2 right here because that's going to automatically reflect it. So we are going to write -3 as the absolute value. And then we're going to multiply, guys. So remember, the -3, the absolute value of that's a +3. But you're multiplying that by a -2. So it's a -6. We're going to put a -6 right there. Yeah. So we're going to go 3 places, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go down a total of 6 units. So I know that I have a point right here. I know that's on the graph. Let's do that one more time, and this time let's do it to the right. So we're going to the right side. I don't know. Let's go 2 units to the right. So if I'm going 2 units to the right, let's write a +2. So again, it's going to be a -2 times the absolute value of a +2. And that -2 times the absolute value of a +2, that's just 2 times -2, guys. So we're going to write a -4. So go back to the vertex up there, go 2 places to the right, and then go down 4 units. And put your dot. And then that's it. I'm just going to draw my axis of symmetry and get symmetrical points. And then I'm going to see the shape of that V. So it looks like this was 2 places away from the axis of symmetry. I'm just going to go 2 places in the other direction. So that's a point on the graph. Last thing down here, this is 3 places away, so count 3 places. That's going to be the final dot you're going to need to create this absolute value graph. Notice the absolute value graph is upside down, but we already knew it was going to be upside down because we already knew that A value was negative. Any negative A value is going to make the V shape upside down. And then guys, if you guys notice, your y-intercept is right here at 0, 6. And be careful on your range. Don't write your range the wrong way. Remember, if you scan from the bottom up, your range is actually going to start with negative infinity. Remember, this graph goes down forever. But it doesn't go up forever. The highest point of this absolute value graph is at the 8. So let's write 8.